in for a treat tonight. We will get started in less than 1 minute. I like to be on time here. So while we're waiting, if y'all want to put in the chat where you're joining from, I'm in Atlanta and look, it's warm enough to have on short sleeves. This is like the first time all year. I truly believe it. It's been so cold here. Last Thursday when I went to leave to go to Florida, we had snow flurries. So, Vegas, I'm sure y'all are warm. New York, I doubt you're warm. But all right, Trent, we are getting started. So we're going to start recording now. Thank you guys so much. Thank you guys so much for joining our call tonight. You're in for an amazing treat. My name is Shannon. I am a dietitian that specializes in metabolic health, and my passion is to empower you to teach you something that you did not know. So I hope that you leave here tonight with a little bit of knowledge, more knowledge than you came with, that you leave empowered and just on fire to improve your own health, to share something that you've learned with a friend or family member in hopes that we can get everyone healthy. We have an amazing guest that's going to come on and tell her story about her struggles, and something that she found that has helped her. And then we are going to learn all things inflammation and energy from an athlete's perspective. So I think y'all will be really intrigued tonight to learn. So without further ado, let's let Tanya come on and tell her story, and then we are going to get started. Let me go and let her on. Trent, are we going to let her in?
I'm looking for Tanya's
Okay.
name here on my screen. I see a Tanya Lobo. Maybe I'm spelling it wrong. One second. Perhaps this is Tanya.
Let's see. I'm looking. Guys, thank y'all for being patient. You're going to want to definitely hear from Tanya. She's got a really amazing story. Let's see if I can find her. Here she is, Trent. She's under Atonia Attard, I believe.
Okay,
Asked to unmute. Let's see.
there we go.
Okay.
She's here.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, Tanya. Welcome, welcome.
Thank you so much. I am so honored to be here. I am absolutely delighted. Thank you.
So tell us a little bit about your health journey, about what you've struggled with, and about some things that, how your health has improved since you found these amazing tools that we're going to learn about tonight.
Well, from the time I was very young, like 5, 6, I developed a really bad eating disorder. So through most of my life, because I'm going to be 48 on Thursday, I've battled
Happy
both anorexia.
birthday.
Oh, thank you. I've battled both anorexia and bulimia. So that's been an ongoing fight. And then as I got older, I developed also several autoimmune diseases, which have caused a lot of pain and caused a lot of issues with my internal organs and things. And then also as I got older, I was training to be a professional mixed martial artist, and I got a severe brain injury. So
Mm.
all these things kind of create this perfect storm of inflammation and pain, and I have trouble focusing now and all these things. And truly I was very blessed to meet Michelle, and she introduced me to Unamate, which has been life-changing for me. I mean, absolutely life-changing. It helps with because I have migraines. I was getting migraines 6 to 7 times a week that were just brutal. Like I couldn't focus. I couldn't deal with light. I couldn't deal with my children. I couldn't deal with my dogs, nothing. And then they were giving me so much migraine medicine that it was really like muting me. I couldn't, even when I didn't have a migraine, I couldn't function. My inflammation would get so bad that I couldn't bend my fingers. They would look like sausages, and it was awful. And it was causing my heart to become so inflamed that I was having what mimicked heart attacks because of the fact that it would just swell up so badly. So as Michelle and I started working together, and we were working on a low carb diet and stuff, and I was like, my inflammation's still so bad, and I can't focus, and I can't sleep, and my emotions are all over the place. And she's like, hey, I have just found this amazing product. You should try this. Within the first, I would say it took 4 or 5 days. All of a sudden, I could wear my jewelry again. I could focus in meetings. When my kids are older, they're 21, 20, and 15, they would talk to me and they would be like, what are you doing different? It makes such a huge difference. For me, there's focus, there's calm. When I'm awake and in my day, I'm way more present. I can sleep better at night. I mean, all the things. And my migraines are down to maybe 2 a week now,
Wow.
unless something huge and stressful comes. And I'm not taking all the medicine I was before. I was taking 3 or 4 different types of medicine a day just to be able to function. It's been huge for me. And I was just telling Michelle because I had talked to her earlier in the week. I went like 4 or 5 days without it this
Mhm.
past week. I could tell an immediate difference. And my oldest son was asking me, he's like, are you okay? Like, what happened? What's the do? Because he would FaceTime me and he'd be like, Mom, you're so antsy. And he's like, then he would be yakking about whatever he's doing. And he was like, it's like you swing from being, you can't sit still to like you can hardly keep your eyes open. He's like, what is going on? And then as soon as I got Michelle for my birthday got me some, she's so sweet. And as soon as I got, like today, I had my first dose again. It was almost immediate.
Wow.
It
Wow.
is such a tremendous product.
And how many of the Unamate do you normally drink, Tanya?
So when I have the chocolatey ones, or I just got some of the mint ones, I'll do a half of one in my coffee in the morning, and then I do a whole one about midday in like I don't know, 10 ounces of warm water. Oh my gosh, I love it. It is and the other thing is that I find great is that it tastes so good that it brings me like this sense of happiness because I have a ton of food allergies, so I can't, there's like 5 things in the world I can eat. And this brings me joy. And
Oh.
it makes me, if I can feel happy, that alone, I think makes a huge difference in somebody's health.
That's amazing. And what I really love about your story, and I think you can resonate with me, and I know Michelle, a lot of people really benefit from these products in with weight loss. And so
Yes.
that is a predominant theme when we talk about these products that y'all are we're gonna learn about tonight is diabetes reversal or weight loss. I've been on them for 3 years. I've never lost a pound, but I feel like $1 million.
Yes.
You look like you're very fit, so you probably didn't lose weight. And I know
Yeah.
Michelle, that we're going to hear from, she hasn't lost weight. So we all use them for different reasons. And your story is huge. So it really, really, really resonates, I'm sure, with a lot of people that may not even give this a second chance because they're like, I don't need to lose weight. Well, I didn't need to lose weight either.
Right.
You didn't either, but the anti-inflammatory benefits, right? The focus, the mood. So we really, really appreciate you sharing your story.
Well, thank you. And honestly, I also, Mayo Clinic, I had gone out to Phoenix out there, and they had asked me to participate in a study about hearts. And it's a very long-term study. So they monitor your voice and your heartbeat and all sorts of things. And when I'm on Unamate, they're like, what are you doing different that your heart rate is normal?
Oh, wow. That's
Otherwise, mine goes super, super low or really high. And they're like, they wrote me a note and they're like, what are you doing that it's very level and like you're calm now.
wow.
And I was like,
That's
this is the
profound.
product. Yeah.
That's profound. Well, you'll have to share that with them and put some other study participants on it.
I told them, I said, and they are great because they're super open-minded about products besides medicine. So I was like, this is the product I use. And my integrated medicine doctor was like, I'm definitely checking into that. So
Amazing.
for me, it was a life-changing product for sure.
Amazing. Well, we really appreciate you sharing your story. I know you've just inspired and gave hope to a lot of people that may not have thought of a metabolic product for migraines.
Yeah.
So So thank you.
You are most welcome.
All right. Well, guys, I'm sure that you were very, 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 very intrigued by that. I hadn't heard that story, and I don't know, it just touches my heart because we hear again about the weight loss benefits. We see the weight loss benefits. And, I struggled with high triglycerides. I had high triglycerides and now I don't written across my forehead. So for those of us that don't have physical changes, um, it doesn't mean that we're not experiencing changes. So I am going to bring our guest on tonight, Michelle Hearn. She's one of my dear, dear friends. She's a celebrity, guys. So she's an author. She's wrote 2 books. She runs more in one day than I run an entire month. And so I really think that you're going to learn a lot from her. She's a fellow dog lover like myself and a rogue dietitian. So without further ado, Michelle, I am going to turn it over to you and let you teach us about energy, inflammation, and athletes.
Well, thank you. And thank you so much for that introduction. I always think it's funny that you say I'm a celebrity. I don't know if I'm a celebrity, but I'm definitely a rogue dietitian. Absolutely a dog lover. I have a 4-year-old German Shepherd who we got him as a puppy. I don't think I was fully prepared for the energy demands. If anybody has a German Shepherd, you should definitely put German Shepherd or a big dog with lots of energy in the chat. I would love to know if there's any. They're wonderful dogs. Like, adore this dog, but lots of energy. All right, you guys. So what I want to talk about tonight, and I really appreciate, Tanya and her story, and I think it's incredible, is, when I first heard of yerba mate specifically, if you heard my story, when Shannon told me about it, I was like, really, a tea? Like a tea, does fat oxidation? Like, why haven't I heard of this before? And when Shannon told me, like, hey, Dr. Bickman has done these studies, I knew Dr. Bickman, we're in some of the same circles in the metabolic community. And so when I reached out and asked him, he was like, yeah, it's really incredible. Like, there's so many uses that we're really just now uncovering. Like, we've had this data on yerba mate, but what Unimate is a ultra concentrated yerba mate. He said, Michelle, it's going to wow, like, it's going to be the next thing because it does a few things that other products don't. What does it do? We know, like Shannon was saying, for type 2 diabetes, for weight loss, we know it increases fat oxidation. We know it's a natural, increases your GLP-1 naturally. I have very strong opinions. I don't know if y'all watch the Super Bowl, like, oh, every commercial is Ozempic, all this, like 3 to 5 years, we're going to see we're already seeing side effects. But anyway, but one thing it does that I think is so unique, because I've been interested in nutraceuticals for a very long time. I've been a long distance runner, started running in high school. I've qualified for the Boston Marathon 16 times. I've done 8 ultra marathons. An ultra marathon is something longer than a marathon. So I run distances from a timed race that was 6 hours up to a 62-mile race, a 100-kilometer race. And I've been successful. I've won several races. And so, but you're always looking for, like, how do I stay on top of this? Because it's an incredibly demanding sport. At my peak, in addition to working full time, chasing a stinky German Shepherd, very blessed to have a wonderful, wonderful wife, wonderful partner. But I'm also, I'm training 60 to 70 miles a week. At the peak, probably closer to 80 miles a week. And it's hard. You're not just going out for ultra running. It's not just like you're going on a long run like you might do for marathon training. It's like you go for a long run one day and then you come back and be ready to go again the next day. So you're creating a lot of inflammation in your body. But most of you guys, I'm guessing, are not ultra marathons, or, maybe some of y'all in here run. But think about maybe you or your parents or your family who has inflammation. Inflammation, you guys, everybody has inflammation. I'm so blessed to get to work with a lot of people. And people tell me, like, oh, my knees hurt, my back hurts. Often when we talk to people about just, starting to get moving, starting to go for walks, a lot of times people say, I hurt, I'm in pain, back pain, I have neck pain, and there are many things that, increase inflammation and cause pain. Certainly our diet can be that, stress can be that, not being in a circadian rhythm, not getting adequate sleep. But if there's something we can do that not only reduces inflammation, but has all these other effects. Because often when we're dealing with something, it's not just one factor that happens. You know, people will say like, oh, it's just, you know, I'm really sore because of this. Well, yeah, I'm sure that contributed, but there's so many other things that go on, right? So let me, you know, and I want to dive in a little bit more specifically about kind of like what's going on in inflammation, but I'm going to share kind of like how I got interested in Unimate. So, you know, after Dr. Bickman was like, yeah, this stuff is really good, you know, and I was still a little skeptical, but, you know, he had excellent research, and there's excellent research studies just on yerba mate. He sent me some samples. You know, my wife ended up trying it, and she's like, this is amazing. This is helping me intermittent fast. And as I was researching it, and I learned that it could increase fat oxidation. And like Shannon said, you know, I'm very fortunate. I'm pretty lean. I'm not necessarily trying to lose weight, but as an ultra endurance runner, being able to oxidize fat is everything because you want to be able to oxidize fat even at higher heart rates and faster paces, because you don't want to hit the wall. You don't want to, you know, run out. You don't want to be dipping into your stored carbohydrate, glycogen, muscle, liver glycogen. And so I was like, maybe I should try Unimate just to help with fat oxidation. You know, I'm already pretty fat adapted, but why not? So my wife was drinking it. She said it tasted great. I kind of liked it. But I've been such a coffee person, you know, I'm like, oh, do I have to give up my coffee? And I was like, well, I'll have some coffee and then I'll have Unimate. So I started doing Unimate before I ran. And I also, sometimes in my runs, usually longest runs during training get to about a little over 4 hours, so close to like 28 to 30 miles at a time. And so I would be taking caffeine. And I was like, well, this naturally has caffeine. Let's just, you know, add this to my routine. And I was blown away by how much less sore I was. And I thought, like, you know, I have this really dialed in. Like, because I'm oxidizing more fat? Is this why I'm less sore? Like, what is going on? So I actually reached out to Dr. Bickman, and I was like, okay, I really like how I feel, but I don't really understand. Well, why do I feel so much better? Why am I not as sore? I haven't changed anything else from a nutrition standpoint. And, you know, like I said, I kind of anticipated it's because I'm oxidizing fat. And he said, well, maybe. But one of the main things that Unimate does, you know, when it's ultra concentrated, you know, and this is why you can't go to the store when people are like, what about this yerba mate? Or what about those goofy ones in the cans that are loaded with sugar? No, we can't do that. It's ultra concentrated. What does that do? That increases the level of chlorogenic acid that is in the yerba mate. It is significantly higher than anything you're going to get at the store. Chlorogenic acid is a very powerful antioxidant. And what it does, it actually increases the liver's production of glutathione. So glutathione, I mean, there's a lot of weird chemistry to it, but basically it just squashes inflammation. And so here I am, you know, using the Unimate, potentially oxidizing more fat, but also just vastly reducing the inflammation of my body. So I'm able to run, you know, and be much less sore. Because that, you know, in any athletic endeavor, if you guys like sports, you know, I know the Super Bowl was just this past week, had a few dollars on the Seahawks. So I was in a good place. They always say that the best ability is availability. Your ability, and this is, you know, this is outside of sports, right? Showing up in business, showing up in life, but being able to show up consistently is the only way to get better at anything, right? So for me, not being inflamed was amazing. You know, that I actually really dialed in my Unimate before my last summer race. It was a 6-hour race. And it was in Eugene, right outside of Eugene, Oregon. And it was like a little over a mile loop. So I had this whole thing planned out, how much I was going to run, you know, and then it ended up being, we had a heat wave. And so instead of being like 60 degrees, it was 92 degrees. So that went out the window. But I ended up still doing well, broke the course record. And that was the first time that I actually slept the night of the ultra marathon. Normally I'm so inflamed and sore, you know, from running 40, 50 miles that I can't sleep. But I'd taken 4 Unimates during the entire 6-hour race. It was amazing. I actually fell asleep. So I cannot say enough, you know, if you guys have people in your life, you know, even kids. My nephew's in soccer, and he uses this before and during soccer. I would love to see this start to replace some of those energy drinks, those like Monsters and things, right? Like the ability to keep inflammation at bay is so powerful. You know, once again, think of your parents, think of people in your life that are really limited, you guys, from inflammation. You know, often think of people who are older who stop moving around because they hurt. And what happens when that, people stop moving around is they start to lose muscle and they're much more prone to having a poor quality of life. So, oh gosh, I feel like I don't I don't want to talk too long because I know we want to talk about the products. And we're talking specifically about Unimate, but also, I certainly use Balance as a second product we're going to talk about. But for me, that was how I kind of got introduced to the company, was through Unimate. And that's been the biggest driver of improvement in my running, really reducing the inflammation. So thank you for listening to my story. I'm happy to take any questions. I'm honored. If anybody, I wrote a book called The Dietitian's Dilemma. Always honored to talk about that. So thank you. Thank you, Shannon.
No, thank you for coming on and telling your story. I mean, guys, you're looking at somebody who's, broken course records. And I mean, like I said, she runs more in one day than I run in an entire month. And so we'll bring her on at the end if anybody has questions about energy, inflammation, sports, right? But thank you so much, Michelle. So let's go into a little bit about what is Unimate and what is Balance. And we have, oh my God, we have like 467 people on this call. If y'all want to put in the chat, how many of y'all have actually tried Unimate and Balance? And if you've tried Unimate and Balance, put in the chat, like, what has been your experience? For me, like I mentioned earlier, I got on the products because I wanted, number one, I had a terrible lipid profile. I don't have a weight problem. I don't have a blood pressure problem. I have had some anxiety issues, but my lipid panel was atrocious. I mean, y'all would fall out of your chair if you knew what my cholesterol was. And so I truly wanted to see what I could do from a natural standpoint. I refuse statins. Please, I'm not your doctor. Don't do as I say. I just not touching them. And so when I found these products, I went and had blood work done because I want objective data, right? And I got on the products and I had blood work done 8 weeks later. And in 8 weeks, my triglycerides went from 250 down to 50. I mean, that's profound. And as a clinical dietitian, I'd never seen anything like that. And it was mine. I mean, and then my good cholesterol went from 53 up to 122. I still have not ever seen a higher one. So I know that the products work. I've never missed a day ever since September of 2022. And I will be on this for the rest of my life. And we're going to go through some of these amazing results that y'all are putting in the chat here soon. So please keep them coming. But I want to go over what they are for those of you who are new, so that you can see what we're so excited about. All right. Can y'all see my screen? Let me make it big. There we go. Everybody see that? Okay. I'm assuming you can. All right. So we have a major problem. Major problem. Now, I know this is a recording, so it's not TikTok, so it's not going to get cut off. We thought COVID was a problem, right? If you say that word on social media, they don't like it. We thought that was a problem. But what we have going on called insulin resistance is a much bigger problem. If you think about this, 93% of our country, 93%, that means 7 out of 10 people in a room with you are metabolically sick, right? It does not have to be obesity. It does not have to be diabetes. It can be skin tags. And I'm telling you, as you look through some of these symptoms, people that you know and love are going to start coming to your head and you're like, oh my God, Jane has those things on her neck. And like, oh my, like once you see, you can't unsee. I mean, I'll be standing in the grocery store line and I'm like, oh, he's got insulin resistance. Maybe I need to talk to him about this. But I mean, how many of you get up multiple times at night to go to the bathroom? How many times do you eat a meal and an hour later, how in the world am I hungry again? I literally just ate, right? How many of you get hangry, right? If you have to take protein bars on your hour hike, there's a problem. There's a huge problem. How many of you seen, and we'll call it the dad bods, Okay, the belly that's hard, right? It's not even like pinch an inch. It's like hard. That's deep visceral fat, high cholesterol me. I thought I was one of the healthiest people on earth, and boy, was I wrong. Even though I don't even know what that was about, but y'all got some fireworks for that one. Um, Exercised and thought I ate correctly, right? How many people have you seen with dark skin on their neck? Alzheimer's and dementia is now called type 3 diabetes. PCOS, the number one cause of infertility in females. Guys, that's not a OBGYN problem. It's a metabolic problem. Fatty liver is now, it's not called non-alcoholic fatty liver disease anymore. It's called metabolic associated steatosis. So we're eating ourselves to death is what we're doing. Okay. And I mean, no disrespect to anybody on here by saying that, but it's true. But the beautiful thing about that is we also have the power to change it. Okay. So why? What's going on? How many of y'all snack, right? How many of you were told by me, and I'm so sorry, I told you that, but I was wrong, to eat every 2 to 3 hours. If you don't eat every 2 to 3 hours, your metabolism is going to slow down. We're going to put you in fat storing mode. We got to keep that engine revved, right? You want to have breakfast, lunch, and dinner, snack, 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 right? Well, what is snack? What is a snack? Can you buy a snack that's not ultra processed? Probably not. The snack food industry, guys, I mean, I hate to say it, but big food is really, really smart. I mean, they hire the top scientists to make food ultra palatable where you can't resist it, to make it stimulate the dopamine in our brain so we become addicted. And they market things. They tell the incredible marketing on packages that make us believe that an acai bowl is one of the most nutritious things you can put in your mouth. Guys, it's a sugar bomb, right? And so what happens is these processed foods taste really, really good. Fiber really doesn't taste well. Fiber really isn't shelf stable. And what does fiber do? It fills you up. So let's just remove the fiber so it tastes good. It doesn't fill us up. It makes us want to eat more, right? And it can last on a shelf. So that's what happened. And when we remove fiber, our blood sugar spikes. Okay. And so what do? Well, maybe you eat lots of vegetables, but who does that? I mean, we're all pressed for time. In a perfect world, we would eat, a big variety of salads and different vegetables that are high in fiber prior to each meal. But even as a dietitian, I don't do that, y'all. I just don't have time, energy, or the resources. So I started using this little pack called Balance. What is Balance? It's a blend of 7 different types of soluble and insoluble fibers. What does it do? Well, we consume it before we eat, okay? And it thickens up. You can see right here. It thickens up. It coats our stomach and it expands. When it expands, it activates the stretch receptors in our belly, which tell our brain you're starting to get satiated. You've had enough to eat. It slows down that absorption of glucose. Insulin follows glucose. So if glucose doesn't spike as high, then your insulin doesn't spike as high. It also acts as a prebiotic. Guys, I think as insulin resistance becomes the word of the future, it was just mentioned in the flipping of the food pyramid. That is big, big to do. They mentioned insulin resistance, right? But along with that, I think gut health is going to be something that really gets focused. Because without gut health, you have depression, anxiety is related to poor gut health. You don't digest and absorb your food properly, right? Your thyroid hormone is produced in your gut. So it's more than pooping, guys. It's more than pooping, right? This little pack right here, I am so proud to say, lowers your glucose more than metformin. Guys, how many of you on here, if you want to, if you feel comfortable, you can put a 1 in the chat. How many of you are on metformin or know somebody on metformin? It's the top prescribed diabetic drug in the world. #1. And that medication lowers glucose, you can look it up, by about 25 to 30%. Would you ever have guessed that this little pack of fiber lowers your glucose up to 43% more? That's more than metformin. So then why aren't doctors talking about it, right? If you went to your doctor and were diagnosed with high cholesterol, fatty liver, or diabetes or prediabetes, and you were given the option of a natural supplement or a medication such as metformin, what would you choose? What would you choose? I think probably there's 472 people on here. I bet at least 400 of you would choose a natural option. But we're not given that opportunity. And that's such a shame because I truly believe this is the solution to the world's biggest problem and no one knows about it. Another thing that I forgot to mention, see that little study down here at the bottom, the Cleveland Clinic? How many of y'all have heard of the Cleveland Clinic? It's the top cardiac hospital in the nation. They're the experts. You know what they did? They did a study on balance. And the conclusion in their study says right there, such a product taken regularly could reduce cardiovascular risk on a population basis and potentially decrease the need or dose for lipid-lowering meds. That means statins, y'all. That's powerful. That's huge. And the top diabetic university in the world, the University of Sydney, they developed the glycemic index. They also studied our product. So you can feel safe and confident knowing that this isn't just another Herbalife. This is a scientifically backed product, okay? So that's one part of it. You take that, sorry, let me go back. You take this before your biggest meal, okay? You mix it up, you chug it, and I'm a weirdo. I like it. I think it tastes so good that I mix mine in a lot of water and I like drink it like a treat. I mean, I get excited about it. And the second part is called Unimate. And this is what Michelle was talking about. This is what Tanya was talking about. I literally think this is liquid gold, truly. It is a yerba mate concentrate. Have y'all heard of yerba mate before? If you've heard of yerba mate, maybe you put that in the chat that you've heard of it. Dr. Huberman has talked about it. You may have seen it in a can at the store. You may have seen it advertised on TV, but I can promise you it's not this. This is a concentrate. It contains 375 times the amount of that chlorogenic acid that Michelle talked about, the beneficial compound, than your typical mate. What does it do? Why do we like it so much? #1, how many of y'all struggle? I'm a sugar addict. I struggle with a sugar addiction. Like I truly can't stop once I start. And this product has been a game changer for me. It has shut that off. It has really, really helped me gain control over my sweet tooth. And I don't mean that lightly. We've all heard of the Ozempic, the Zepbound, the Mounjaro, the Wegovy, right? The GLP-1 receptor agonist. This product right here increases our own, the only source of GLP-1, guys, is our belly. This increases it up to 70%. So for those of you who are struggling with controlling your appetite or food cravings or food addiction or the munchies or the snackies or that feeling that you just can't stop eating, this will be a game changer. It truly was. It wasn't like it was a willpower. I call it willpower in a packet, right? But you heard Tanya. It helps with mood and focus. It helped my anxiety. She reported that. It's helping her heart rate. It lowers inflammation. You just heard that from Michelle. I pretend to be a CrossFitter. I'm not an endurance runner like her. And I've noticed significant improvement in my recovery from my gym sessions. It increases ketone production, right? One thing that we don't really talk about very much that I think is really relevant today is it's an anti-carcinogenic. What does that mean? It has anti-cancer properties. Guys, I didn't mention that, but if we go back, cancer is on that on that wheel of insulin resistance. So we want to lower our risk of cancer in any way that we can. Okay. So I kind of mentioned a little bit about the products, how we use them. I use it in conjunction with intermittent fasting, but I want you to know that you do not have to fast to be successful at using these products. When I say fasting, really, that can mean stop eating dinner, sleeping. When you sleep, you're fasting. You may not call it that. I remember the first time I talked to my mama. They live on a farm, and my mom's 70. And I was like, Mama, I want you to try these products, but you need to do some fasting. And she goes, you know what, Shannon, I'll try the products, but I'm not going to fast. And so she got on them, and then we had a conversation. She watches some of my videos and some of these calls, and she goes, "You know what? I do fast." She goes, we eat dinner about 6 o'clock, and by the time we get up and feed the cows and I get dinner or breakfast cooked, it's about 10:30. And she goes, I get, 14 hours, 15 hours in. I'm just like, there you go, mama. So you don't have to label it fasting. Literally, it's gut rest. That can be anywhere from 12 hours, 16. Some people go 18. I'm about a 16 hours. So I wake up in the morning and I mix mine up. You can do it hot, you can do it cold. I like mine in a big 40-ounce container, and I take it to the gym with me and I drink it while I work out. Okay. Then it's time for me to eat lunch sometime mid-afternoon. I am a 2 balancer a day. You do not have to be. Okay. But I mix this little packet up in cold water, mix, chug. And then I focus on my meals, which are animal-based, protein, lots of fiber, veggies. Move on to my afternoon. Remember, we're not children. We don't snack, right? That's the snack food industry trying to sell you food. But when you drink this, you don't really feel the need to snack. And I think a lot of our snacking, guys, comes from the idea that we've eaten enough at our meals. We push our plate away and we're not really done. We think that we should be done, but we're not done. I want you to feel comfortable eating enough to meet your needs. Truly, if you focus on whole quality foods, you can eat till you're satiated, right? Hunger always wins. So if you push your plate away and you're still hungry, there's a good chance you're going to snack, and then you'll end up eating something worse or more than you would have eaten if you just finished your meal. So I'm a big advocate of eating till you're satisfied. I drink another one in the afternoon, and then dinner is my biggest meal. So you better believe I'm going to pop one of these little bad boys. And it's that simple. It's tastes good. They're simple to use. I've traveled around the world. They're easy to take with you. And guess what? There's no side effects. So let me go back to the chat. Here's some pictures of people that have had very, very, very good results. I asked y'all earlier, why is it not showing? Here we go. To put in the chat of some of your comments about what this product has done for you. So migraines helped, inflammation, lost weight without being able to exercise, helps with sugar cravings, changed my desire for healthy food. I love it so much I want to cry. Wow. It's the only thing that's helped my chronic pain. I have cardiac disease, cholesterol, kidney, diabetes, and feel great using these products. Even walk in the morning before I work 10 hours a day. Down 30 pounds, reverse PCOS. No more cravings. My energy's back. Brain fog is gone, right? I used to get hangry. No more. I love that. I use Unimate every morning in the gym. It has replaced my pre-workout. I don't miss it. I love that. I do too. Let me see. Let me go back up. A1C down, blood pressure lowered, lost 26 pounds. I am lost 20 pounds, no more endometriosis, no longer pre-diabetic. Amazing. Lipids were out of control for 15 years at 283. 30 days in, it was down to 249. 90 days down to 219, lost 20 pounds and 7 inches. 80 pounds down, 54-inch waist down to 48. And look at that. No more of that metformin. I love it. Glaucoma in my eyes is cleared, and I've lost 60 pounds. 24 days in, I've lost 5 pounds, fasting 16 to 17 hours a day, and feel decreased in bloating and increase in energy. I can keep going. Let me read one or two more. Down 65 pounds, reverse neuropathy, fatty liver, off antidepressants. Remember, guys, when you improve gut health, you improve your mental health. Off blood pressure meds that I took for 31 years. No more chronic pain. Eyesight is improved. If y'all can see the theme here, it's pretty incredible, right? These are issues that people thought were chronic, that they thought they were going to be band-aiding or managing for the rest of their life, and no more, right? No more inflammation, no more reflux, lots of energy, keeps me satisfied. A1C from 8 down to 5.7. So I could go on and on. But there we go. So that is the Feel Great system. Let me stop sharing my screen and come back on here. So what I want to do now is bring Michelle on, and I want to open it up and see if anybody has any questions on the Feel Great system, on energy, on inflammation. So Michelle, if you want to come back, I'm going to pull up the chat. Okay.
Yeah, somebody has a great question. They're asking it like, they were specifically asking about Unimante, and they're like,
Okay.
man, is because you're reducing the inflammation the driver of what's improving all these things? And that certainly helps, but while the chlorogenic acid is super concentrated and super powerful, there's other things specifically in yerba mate. There's the theobromine, which helps with the feelings of calm. I always mispronounce is it saponins? How do you pronounce that?
Mate saponins, correct.
Saponins. Okay. The first time I did, I just called it like saponins, and someone made fun of me. So yeah, just another source of antioxidant. So it's a really powerful plant that does a lot of different things, and it acts on a cellular level when it comes to increasing fat oxidation and ketone productions, which actually there's so many different mechanisms that drive down. Yeah, the person who asked that, your handle is just Zoom user. But if you want to, I'd be happy. I put together a really cool paper that has links to several scientific studies specifically on just yerba mate and then on Unimate and balance as well. Actually, I'm happy to send that to anybody if they want that. It's kind of a cool thing to send to people that are interested, that are like, ugh, because we're all skeptical. If you're not smart, people are skeptical, right? So just, easy to read studies. I'm happy to send that out too.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay. So somebody said, does decaf change anything? No, it's just the caffeine is removed. All the benefits of the mate and the chlorogenic acid are still there. Okay. Michelle, can you put your book in the chat? It's called The Dietitian's Dilemma.
Thanks, guys. The Dietitian's Dilemma. I have 2 books. I have The Dietitian's Dilemma is the first book I wrote, and that's I would be very honored if people check that out, just because I became a dietitian like Shan. I became a dietitian in 2009, and that's when we still had the terrible food pyramid. And so it specifically talks about how lower carbohydrate diets can benefit type 2 diabetes, mental health disorders, sarcopenia, heart disease, and eating disorders. So, and has a little bit about my running if you're interested in that. And then I wrote a children's book called The Fox Family Food Fight. So that's also on Amazon.
Awesome. Is the main supplement chlorogenic acid? So chlorogenic acid is the main compound in Unimate. It's an anti-carcinogenic, right? It's an antioxidant. It's an anti-inflammatory. It improves mood and focus. Not the jittery like caffeine energy. It increases, it's an insulin sensitizer. It upregulates our own GLP-1. So there's many benefits, but balance is the fiber matrix, which improves our gut health, which helps us feel fuller faster, which lowers our cholesterol and our glucose. Let me see. I'm missing some questions here. So can I have caffeine, Unimate in the morning? Absolutely. Caffeine, decaf. I am extremely caffeine sensitive. I don't drink caffeine. I don't even drink caffeine in coffee or sodas or anything like that. And I can drink I've had 4 or more sometimes of Unimate, and it does not bother me at all because of that theobromine. It almost like calms any of the caffeine in that.
Yeah, like I was saying, it's kind of paradoxical, like because you would think like, oh, it because it has caffeine and theoretically like more caffeine even than some coffee drinks, you'd be like, I'm gonna feel and I don't know if anybody else feels this way, but when I have, mate, I feel very level. When if you're an endurance athlete, if you've ever taken like a caffeinated sports fuel, it's like you're going along and all of a sudden, whoa, like you get this kind of like few minutes of wow, like kind of a high end crash where this is very level. And we actually have people that their sleep scores improve. I know my sleep has improved since using Unimate.
Yeah, awesome. Let's see. Any more questions? Okay, my friend's 16-year-old son has IBD and colitis with this product. So Miss Nay, my suggestion is it's not going to hurt him. It can only benefit him. And the beautiful thing about the Feel Great system for our guests that have never used it is you do get a 90-day money back guarantee. We are so confident that you're going to love this and you're going to get the benefits. That if it's not for you, then you will get your money backs. But I have recommended this to hundreds and hundreds of people. My friends and family are on it, and I've never missed a day in 3 years. And I've never felt better in my whole life. I thought I was healthy, and I thought I felt great, and actually I feel better. So I think that would I recommend it? 1000%.
I'm having a couple people ask about that. If you'd like the paper, just send me an email. You can send it to my personal email address.
You want to
You're
put it in
interested?
chat?
You might put it in the chat. Okay. I
Yeah.
was gonna say you can write it down. They'll put it in the chat, but it's pretty simple to recommend. I've had it since I was 18. I'm not changing it, even though it might have a Pokemon as part of the first part. So I will put it in the chat. See if anyone can figure out
While you're
Pokemon.
doing that, let's see. What about CKD, fatty liver, and morbid obesity? 1000% yes. We've actually had people with CKD reverse their CKD, gone from stage 4 to stage 1. Fatty liver, if caught early, is very, very, very reversible. And we've had people, I mean, I've had own personal customers lose almost 200 pounds using these products. So I I definitely recommend it to anybody that has any type of chronic metabolic disease, right? It has some effect on resisting muscle loss, correct? So Jim, I'm a big avid weightlifter. I've actually put on muscle and gotten stronger since since I'm using this protocol. Insulin resistance is, and we also have something called anabolic resistance, which plays in with muscle wasting. And so if we can reverse our insulin resistance and that anabolic resistance using a protocol like this, then you will see some muscle enhancement. But you do need to have a stimulus to that. And with a note on that, muscle is our biggest glucose sink. Muscle is the key it's the organ of longevity. It will absorb up to 80% of our glucose. The more muscle you have, the more metabolically healthy you're going to be. I am a huge, huge fan of muscle. So,
Someone's
all right.
asking if you Shannon Davis, do you do your workout without eating or without eating before after? Do you eat before after?
No, I work out really, really, really early in the morning, like 5 or 6. So I ain't getting up at 3 to eat before, I can tell you that. So no, I drink my mate. I carry it with me in my 40 ounces. I add some creatine and I add some electrolytes and I sip away. And I have actually, like I said, I've put on more muscle and gotten stronger adopting this protocol. But guys, I eat, okay? I eat a lot. So you have to nourish yourself. You can work out, but if you don't provide the fuel to your muscles, then you're not going to grow them. So, all right. Well, guys, if this is something that you're interested in, please reach out to the person that invited you. Imagine Imagine if your doctor gave you this option. If your doctor said, you know, Michelle, unfortunately, you have diabetes, but fortunately, you have two choices. We have a natural protocol that I'm going to give you an option to try for 90 days and then come back. Or I can just start you on metformin. Imagine that you were offered that. What would you choose? Imagine that your life could be different by trying something different. You have nothing to lose. I have seen it. It has changed my life. It has changed the trajectory of my career because I am so convicted by something that's so amazing and more people need to know about it. So if you're struggling, you know someone who's struggling, why not? That's the thing is why not? Why not?
And Shannon,
What
real quick, people are saying like, hey, I put it in the chat, but it kind of flew up. So you guys want the paper, my email address, real quick, write it down. P as in Paul, IKA, then the word runner, RUNNER @gmail.com.
Awesome. Perfect. Well, guys, we really appreciate you being on. We have these calls every Tuesday night, so we'd love for you to come back. We do different topics, but our goal and the company's goal is to make life better and to save your life. So if there's anything that we can do to help you along your journey, then please reach out. Please join our amazing family and let's all get healthy together. And let's take that 93% down, right? All right.